Hello and welcome. You're watching CNBC-TV18 with me, Manisha Gupta. Well, that was the story for equities. How can we forget commodities? Because from bullion to almost agriculture, there has been a big boom. The setup of late has been around brewing fervor for safe haven assets amid a weakening US dollar index, mounting macro uncertainties and distinguished geopolitics at play. So when you look at the overall markets, it has been a stupendous rally that we have seen come in for the precious metal prices. Whether it was about geopolitical uncertainties, shifting trade policies, global macro fears, or for that matter, ongoing energy transition, all of that has been quite supportive. So when it comes to the crude oil prices, it was a range-bound trend. Markets were also looking at one, energy transition, two, weak Chinese data, and then it also was about increasing supplies from OPEC and allies. The markets also have seen strong gains for gold and silver. Remember, it was an all-time high that we saw for both of these commodities, clearly outperforming various other asset classes, including equities as well. If you look at the gold prices, we've seen gain of around 60% in this year. Silver has been up by 80%. You have platinum, which has gained up by nearly 85% for this year. The mood in the base metal prices also has been on the stronger side there. When copper prices, you look at that, has seen some gains come into the markets there. And then it also was about aluminum, zinc, palladium, all of those commodities do well. When you look at the day-to-day, well, there has been some profit taking. So Mahurat trading was more about declines in many of these commodity prices than gains. So that was about the previous Samvat, but let's welcome our guest who will take us through on what the next Samvat or the year can bring in for you. Joining us now is Kunal Shah of Nirmal Bang Commodities, Peter McQuire of Trading.com, Ol Hansen, he's head of commodity strategy at Saxo Bank. Gentlemen, hi, thank you so much for joining in. And what a year as per the Hindu calendar that we've seen. As we prepare for the next year now, Ol, what is it that you would want to watch out for? All-time highs done and some correction as well. The kind of cracks that we've seen in this rally, especially for gold and silver, do they talk to us about further decline, profit taking, a healthy correction perhaps?
Yes, I believe that this has been our view, and I continue to be of that camp, that in near term, gold has discounted all the positives which was supposed to drive gold higher at $4,400, $4,500 level. All the positive news are in the price right now, and the moment we see that ongoing US shutdown and everything, whatever is going on, the government shutdown, whenever it reopens, we are going to see profit taking, a bout of profit taking. And from here, the possibility of gold likely to go into profit taking and enter in a major consolidation phase is very high, because I think this rally has been quite phenomenal. So even if US 10-year bond yields are going down, or even if the interest rates are going down in the US, or even if the job market data worsens, all of that is in the price at $4,400. So I'm expecting gold to go down till first $4,000 on CME futures in a shorter term. And next year, by the next Diwali, gold is likely to give very conservative return of 10 to 12%, 4,500, 4,550 maximum perhaps on the upside. That's my base case scenario. So I'm not very bullish, but I continue to remain bullish from the still 2 years point of view. Dip should be bought rather than buying right now at all stretch.
So buying on dips, a major consolidation perhaps could be coming, but even with that, $4,000 to $4,500 an ounce is what we could be looking at by the end of next year. Ol Hansen, this one is to you then. If you are also looking at profit taking, what is the range that you would work with now for the next year for gold prices?
Well, I think the timing of the signs of correction is pretty good, because obviously happy Diwali, and also simply the fact that Diwali has now started, and that removes, at least in the short term, some of the very strong demand that we have seen driving prices to these levels. I would say led by silver this time round. I agree that the market is spiky here. We need simply a consolidation. We need to see how much of the latest run-up has been speculative money that is looking for an exit sooner than some of the more long-term positioning that we've seen come in as well. So basically, in the correction now, we will see the strength of the underlying strength of the market, because if there is any speculative hedge fund selling coming into the market, we need to see how that is being absorbed. And for that to happen, we need to see gold price probably correct somewhere between $200 and $400. So we at least have started that process. looking ahead, I can't agree more with the previous analysis. There, simply that the world is still a troubled place. We still have a debt situation that is worrying investors, especially in the US. And with that in mind, I think the demand will continue to be firm in the coming months to take prices higher up towards that $5,000 level next year. So not an increase to the extent that we've seen this year, but still some gains to be found in the coming 12 months.
Peter, what is your target for 2026, and also how are you looking at the silver prices moving forward from here?
Well, happy Diwali, Manisha, and to everyone, and greetings from Sydney. Couple of things. First off, I want to see how the rest of this year moves. We're under 4% now on the 10-year. I want to see the length of time, and there's much speculation as far as this government shutdown. Could it go as long as 60, 61 days? That's going to be a real turning point. I'll tell you why. It's a turning point for government employees, and the issues quite simply are we going to see 2 successive rate cuts? That's what the market's expectation is by end of year, and then possibly another 3 next year. And what CPI is going to present to our Fed Chair Powell. So in turn, I want to see also the language coming from this week with Scott Bessent and of course Vice Premier He in China and the tariff situation. So I'm more bullish. And I think, and the reasons for it is uncertainty. We've got a stock market out of control in the sense of what we're seeing as far as peaks. Look at the Nikkei, look at the CSI 300, and of course the Dow and the S&P. And I think that will drag up further. And I feel as though gold, yes, it'll probably have a little washout, Manisha, but it's going to see, I believe the 5,000 is something that we're going to keep our eye on, and it could certainly well nudge higher than that. So I think the next couple of months are going to be dynamic, and it's certainly showtime.
All right. All, if you had to choose between gold and silver, which is it going to be? And with silver, there's way more working in sense of deficit and industrial demand as well. So more reasons to go long silver, and what are your targets on that? All hands, and this one is to you.
Thank you. I think with silver having reached the 50 level and the record high, and with the gold-silver ratio coming briefly below the 80 level, closer to its longer-term average, I think the further silver gain from here probably needs the gold market to support that rally. But at the same time, we've seen this year, especially in the last 6 months, that gold and silver and platinum has been allowed to shine quite strongly, simply because of the continued rally in gold. And when you look at the underlying fundamentals in both these metals, they still point to a tight market. And if investors are looking for protection in hard assets, in tangible assets, in commodities, then I can't see a better picture or better market than these two. So with that in mind, even though I think silver has reached its short-term potential relative to gold, I still see it outperform gold next year. If gold moves towards 5,000 on a relative basis, silver will do even better.
Then are you looking at 65, 70, or what are your targets for silver?
Our targets these days are something that we just to pick out of a hat, simply because these buys are already surprised everyone in terms of the rally. But based on the 5,000, then 65 is something that is a target that would not be a major surprise if we can get that far.
Kunal, when you look at the Indian markets then, and yeah, well, of course, I know you have been bullish for silver as well, but how do people buy this? Because physical, yes, 95% of Indian market is still physical, 5% perhaps is ETFs, and then of course digital silver seems to be doing well. But are you looking at a strong buying continuing? Because we've seen premium build up in the last couple of months. Do you see that situation continue?
I think the premium is eroded this week, and it is likely to get eroded further, with the supply scenario likely to improve further. So we believe that these are like a one-off events what we've seen lately. It doesn't generally happen where silver gets sold off in the physical market up by 30,000 rupees and people are willing to buy. So there was a frenzy right now as far as silver was concerned. Nobody wanted to buy 80,000, and everyone thought that at 1,80,000 we are not going to get silver. So this is how the behavioral aspect of the market, this is how people behave. And we've seen today also silver is down by almost 5%. So right now there is a healthy correction, profit taking is going on in the bullion market, especially in silver, and it is likely to continue on Indian bourses. I'm expecting silver to go down till the levels of 1,35,000 to 1,30,000. Perhaps those shall be the good levels to again, start accumulating it. And on CME, I see this retracing back to around 45 to 42 and a half sort of levels. And those will be again, levels to start accumulating. The interesting thing for the next month is going to be what is going to happen to the Indian rupee. And I believe that this has been my view for the year 2025. Unfortunately, because of the tariff scenario, this view could not get materialized. But I am expecting a sharp appreciation in the Indian rupee the moment you see the Indian and US trade tension gets solved, or we get relaxed in our tariff 25%. I think the Indian rupee across the world will be the best performing currency. This is my forecast, and that brings me to the point that the upside in bullions is going to be restricted even from the rupee point of view, because right now if rupee is trading at 88 and if rupee becomes 83 and a half, 84, then what you are going to, your majority of the say 7 to 8% upside, if rupee is appreciating, then I think till 8% upside in the international market of gold and silver, you are not going to see the major effect. So this year, silver also wait for further decline. So in a shorter term, there is absolute euphoria going in the Indian market regarding silver, and these are the times generally either you sit out or you wait for a correction, let the market come to the sanity at its own terms, and then you again start accumulating, because the fundamental. So the most interesting part is the silver is going up because the supply shortage and the strong industrial demand. But what if silver prices are trading at $55, $60? What is going to happen to the industrial demand? Whether it is going to remain strong after that? So the point is, let it correct, let it go down, let there be some more consolidation in the silver market. I think then again it will gear up for the further upside, because the fundamental of gold and silver are no doubt bullish, but at what price you are buying, that is also very important. So if you bought silver at 1,80,000 rupees, first you will have to see 1,35,000 rupees. So it's better to wait for some time, let the froth get settled, let the market correct, and then you can re-enter for the next month.
All right, so rupee appreciation is yet another thing that we will have to keep an eye on. Remember, this year was all about dollar decline, and the dollar index, while it fell nearly 9%, we saw rupee hit all-time lows as well. Peter, this one is to you. Where do you see the dollar index now going into the next year? Because this year hasn't been so great, but next year, does it bring any promise?
Well, Manisha, I feel as though that we've got to see Fed policy, and I want to see, naturally, how many successive rate cuts by Easter. If we were to see 2 or 3, then I feel as though that would put downward pressure on the US dollar. And it's a wait-and-see approach. I mean, we understand where Scott Bessent wants US dollar. We understand where President Trump, as far as interest rates, wants interest rates. So they both want them down significantly from where they are at the moment. And I would think that would draw dollar down. So it's very much a wait-and-see. But, I think further softness for US dollar over the next matter of months, but it's going to be volatile, and we're just in a waiting phase to see, first off, impact from the Fed, and secondly, the tariff situation and how that unfolds, and thirdly, of course, President Trump and who's going to be, and probably announce it over the next couple of months, I would think, who's going to be the next chair. So, there's a lot of dynamic components that need to be played out.
Oh, well, yes, absolutely. Like, a lot of things are playing in this year and may spill over to 2026, but yes, there are new ones getting added into the next year as well. How would you look at the base metal prices? Because markets do believe that moving on from equities to energies to precious metals, the next one to gain perhaps could be base metals.
Base metals are going to have great 2026. My outlook on base metal remains very bullish for the year 2026. And the base case scenario for me to remain bullish is the China's policy. China has turned its policy from revolution to involution. So I believe that China is likely to cut the smelting capacity of a lot of these base metals going forward in a scenario when already the concentrate market is very tight. So right now, this tightness is witnessed in the concentrate market of a lot of these base metals. This will shift into the refined products. So I think this is a big change in policy. Second, instead of keeping their money in the US dollars, they would buy commodities. So they've been buying gold and silver. Now is the time for base metals. So I think the second reasons for me to remain bullish is China's policy. So they will stock all of these base metals instead of keeping their reserves in the US dollars. Why not to keep in base metals? So in a scenario where the Asian demand is very strong, it remains heavy. And if they do that and the prices shoots up, US wants to start its own manufacturing. So what if the copper prices are trading 50% up after 1 year? So how they are going to manage this in a tariff scenario? So I think this is more of a structural bullish trend in spite of the slowdown in China. We've seen there has been a slowdown in China and copper prices are going up. So it's more of a supply side story. So my alpha call is copper. I'm expecting conservatively 30% upside for the year 2026 in copper prices, followed by aluminum 20%, followed by zinc 20%. So I'm expecting across the board 30 to 20% rally in the industrial metals, and it's not driven by traditional demand and supply.
Okay.
It's a strategic move which China is likely to play going forward.
All right. Ola Anson, how are you looking at base metal prices? Would you also be as bullish as Kunal is for the next year?
I think we still have an overhang of supply that needs to be sorted out. We still have very high inventory levels in the US following this tariff scare that we had earlier this year. That will eventually sort itself out, and then the market will start to focus on tightness. And I fully agree that this is more as much a supply side than a story than a demand side story. The supply side we've seen now on a couple of occasions this year has been challenged, and that's not what we need in the coming years, where demand is only going to increase further. So with that in mind, the upside potential for copper is there. Hopefully, 26 could be the year where we start to see it really live up to its green transition credentials or electrification credentials. So with that in mind, a 20% increase is not something that I would discount as unreachable at this point.
Okay, so while gold and silver will continue to be a buy on dips kind of a strategy for the next year, when it comes to base metals, copper is a place you would want to be. And as Peter tells us, well, if you have to look at the currencies, you'll really have to watch out for the US Fed on who the new chair is, and that perhaps would tell us going forward. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in with your sense on all of those commodities and currencies as well. All Peter, Kunal, wishing you a very, very happy Diwali and happy festivities going forward. Well, let's get focus on to the crypto markets now and welcome Samvat Gupta, the co-founder of CoinDCX on the show. Samvat, hi, happy Diwali to you. And as we talk Mahurat, and people seem to be buying gold, selling silver, by the way, because silver is down 5%, and we have seen a very, very volatile crypto market, as it were. How are you looking at crypto? It has been a new entrant for last few years now that also seems to be getting bought into during Mahurats.
Absolutely. I will start by wishing you happy Diwali. And I think, like you rightly mentioned, Manisha, I think Bitcoin has been now one more asset class that people have been looking at very closely, during every Muhurat and every Diwali. I've been watching a lot of content getting created this time from various people where they are diversifying beyond gold and equities and now also looking at Bitcoin and crypto assets in general. So overall, I think it's been picking momentum. There's more mainstreaming that's happening with Bitcoin in particular, but overall crypto market as a whole. And thanks to all the global movement that's happening and institutions that had made this asset class more mainstream over the last few years.
Oh, well, absolutely. Sumit, do you see new entrants coming into the market now, given the fact that the returns have proven themselves to the market right now? Do you see a lot of more people trading, especially today during Mahurat?
I need to check the exact numbers, but I've been receiving dozens of my friends reaching out to me, asking me that, Sumit, how do I buy Bitcoin this Diwali? And I've been trying to help them out personally. So definitely, if you extrapolate that, definitely, we have seen more users coming in, and not just during Diwali, but even prior to Diwali as well. And I do see that right now we're sitting at roughly 3.5 to 4 crore Indians who are unique Indians who are holders of Bitcoin and crypto assets in general. I do believe that this number can easily go to 8 to 10 crore Indians over the next few years. So there's a lot more upside and headroom for growth expected. And CoinDCX is here to exactly serve those customers who are now keen to to diversify their portfolio beyond equities and gold to now even digital assets as well.
Oh, well, yes, we have seen that happen, Sumit, because during Mahurat as well, as you said, a lot of people reaching out to you. People have been reaching out on the social medias as well, asking if that's yet another asset class, which has seen nearly 100% gains, triple digit in many of those cryptos as well. Sumit, how has India evolved, would you say, when it comes to, startups, Web3, AI integration, blockchain being used across? I mean, I know Bihar during its elections is going to be using blockchain this time around for e-voting, etc. Would you say it's making inroads now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening slowly, and then we'll see that it's going to get integrated into our financial applications as well. I mean, 7-8 years back when I was new to the sector, hardly there have been any conversations around blockchain technology, let alone like Bitcoin, and very few people understood it. Very few people used to talk about it. I don't remember any TV interview which happened like 7-8 years back around Bitcoin. So definitely it has come a long way, and now it's not just about investment and trading, but also it has gone beyond these two things to even applications as well. We've seen Maharashtra government talking about tokenization as well. On public blockchains, again, massive value unlock that can happen. You rightly mentioned about one example. I think this is just the beginning. A lot of action happening outside India as well, but I think in the next 1 or 2 years, I see a lot of that momentum coming to India, and we will see a lot more financial applications gradually integrating blockchain into them. And eventually my thesis is that blockchains will be the back end, the front end will remain the same, but we will see more and more applications getting powered by blockchain technology, and digital assets will continue to play a critical role in our financial system in the future.
So what would you say when it comes to India, really? While we have seen a lot of regulatory move ahead in many Asian countries, Europe for sure, US definitely, when it comes to India, how would you, put in a bracket the country in sense of its understanding, its investment within the space? Is it more speculative and investment in nature rather than, an evolving sense therein?
Manisha, if you would ask me this question around 5 years back or 3 years back, I would say it was more speculative. But if we see now, the trend is clearly pointing into a direction where 80 to 90% of the customers are coming in purely for long-term investing. Same is visible from our data as well. 90% of the customers are there to just buy and hold, just like they do with gold or real estate. That's where most of the Indians do their activity. Of course, 3-4 years back, it was much higher speculation, but now it's much lesser. And even the profiling of the customers used to be like, earlier it used to be more young investors ranging between 25 to 28 years old, but now the average age on our platform is 32 years, which tells us that there's more maturity in the market. The customers that are coming in now are coming in with more mature long-term mindset and are looking at crypto not as a speculative asset class, but more of a long-term asset class, which is diversified, which diversifies their overall portfolio, and it's different than sort of equities or other asset classes, and it's more global in nature.
Sumit, it's been a brighter Diwali for you more than others because of the kind of funding that we've seen Coinbase bring into India. How has that worked out in favor of you, and what does it really mean for Indian investors? How are you looking to utilize those monies here, and what does it do to your valuation with that?
Sure, Manish. I think, everyone knows, I think valuation-wise, it's $2.45 billion after the closure of this round. So obviously humbled and honored to have this support and confidence from our investors, not just in India, but global as well. And Coinbase, of course, being one very large, trusted and compliant brand. When they sort of back CoinD6, it just gives a very strong signal in the market that CoinD6 is working, to invest in Indian market growth from a compliance angle, from a long-term point of view, and it of course gives a lot more trust and credibility to CoinD6 as a brand, which of course gives more confidence to the investors. So definitely it's been very positive, not just for CoinD6 but for the larger Indian crypto sector as well. And I think in terms of diversification, in terms of investing in these funds, I think we believe that India market is at a very early stages in terms of its overall maturity. There's a lot of work to be done, like I mentioned before, and the idea is to continue to invest and double down in Indian Web3 sector and make sure that Indians are entering into this asset class with a lot more awareness, education and long-term mindset. And for that we need to do a lot more education, work with government in terms of doing the right policy advocacy, and make sure that company continues to invest not just in India but globally as well. So the idea is to use these funds and invest more in growing the market.
All right. Sumit, what are you buying on the Mahurat day today? Is it equities, gold, silver, crypto? What is it going to be?
So good one. I just asked like.
I hope you're diversified.
Yeah, absolutely. But just my portfolio right now, because I started with a sort of a small crypto portfolio, but then it has gone up over the last many years. So yeah, I mean, I keep buying equities, gold, of course, not a lot right now because already at a very high price. But of course, my parents do that, and I am of course as always buying crypto. I just bought Bitcoin some time back, put a post on Twitter as well, and did a little bit of trading on the platform.
All right. Sumit here wishing you a very, very happy Diwali. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And with that, it's wrap of Diwali Mahurat coverage here at CNBC TV18. Once again, a very, very happy Diwali to all our viewers. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18 for more news and updates on the other side.
The big picture is that there are 3 or 4 positive things right now. Number one is India has done very badly this year relative to peers, emerging market benchmarks. So over 5 years, India has still done better than EM and China and all. Maybe